the full spectrum.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 14 of RollPlay Bar Verona. We're back. We're back in space. Here we are again in outer space. That intro is so good. Every time I see it, I'm like, look at this spaceship. Look at it go.
Every time. The end, too, it's just so perfect with the little, like, ding-dong, ding-dong, ding-dong.
Yeah, right? It's so good. Okay. It's so good. It's so good. And the interstitials, I love it. People ask me all the time, they're like, what goes on in the like pre-show, like before we get to see what everybody's doing and talking about? What do you guys like? What's happening? What are you doing? Are you getting ready for the show? Are you talking about stuff? Today, before the show, we talked about musicals, spitting on yourself by accident, and golf. So there you go. There you go, chat. Now you know. I was surprised to learn. Mark, you love musicals. Tell me about this love of musicals, Mark.
I mean, it's not a huge love. I'm not like a super fan, but yeah, I was like a musical theater kid. I did plays and acting and musical theater. That's where all my thespianism comes from.
Just being British.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Gonna go see Hamilton next week. I'm excited.
Oh, cool. Is it so? Sweet. You're seeing Hamilton in the United Kingdom. It seems weird to me. There's a musical about how bad England is and how much we hate it, and let's sing about it and have a great celebration of that time.
Old crazy England. You know, that was like Mad King George England. We're not, Also, England, we're very self-deprecating. We hate ourselves. We hate England. We hate everything.
Fair.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Today I learned I'm English. Great.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Germans got you beat on that one, but yes, I understand now. Yeah. There's a degree of self. I just think it's so funny because Hamilton particularly is obviously like a global phenomenon as a piece of art, but it's so incredibly intrinsically American. It never occurred to me like, oh yeah, like people in other countries might watch it and not have the same context.
I learned more about American history from Hamilton than I have ever learned in my schools because we're just not taught it. So like I didn't know anything, and then learning more from Hamilton is just crazy.
Yeah, same. Cool.
Not funny.
There you go. When are you going to see it?
Next week, next Thursday. So literally a week tomorrow. So yeah, my partner Nina got me tickets for my birthday, which it was really super nice.
Oh. Cool. That's always nice. Whole night out.
Sweet.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anything else going on besides going to Hamilton? I mean, that's a big thing. I don't want to like downplay this big deal musical you get to go see, but what else you got going on, dude?
It's fun. I just went to another one of my LARPs here in the UK where I'm pretty sure I've got a hairline fracture in my hand, which is always fun. Yeah. So that was fun.
Did you get it from fighting an ogre?
No. I got it from fighting my friend because we were just being idiots and fighting each other for fun. And he just hit me really hard on the hand. And I kind of was just like, oh man, that really hurts. Ha 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 ha. And then he left. I was like, no, this actually really hurts. I'm going to have to go to the medic's tent. And so I went up to like the actual first aiders and they were like, oh yeah, this is pretty bad. It's probably a bad sprain or hairline fracture. So good times.
So what I'm hearing is you did not win the LARP. This was not a victory LARP for you.
No, I won, but just I hurt my hand.
So help me understand what kind of LARPing is this? Is this the throwing tennis balls and shouting lightning bolt LARP? No. Is this the pretending to be a vampire type of a LARP, or or is this the like getting drunk in medieval costumes kind of LARP?
It is. It's more the third, but with elements. So it's a fantasy LARP. So, but it's more Game of Thrones than high fantasy. There's no like real like orcs and there's orcs, but not like like it's very down. It's a very low magic kind of fantasy.
I like this. There's orcs, but they're not like out there. They're just down to earth orcs. They're subtle.
They're
orcs.
not like Warcraft orcs or like 40k orcs. They're people with green skin. But no, it's really good. It's a pretty big one. It's like nearly 3,000 people, and it's more Game of Thronesy. It's very political. There's lots of cool, big fights where they kind of split the whole player base in half, and one side of you plays the bad guys, one side of you plays the good guys, and or plays your characters, I should say. And then you have these massive like 1,500 people battles out in the fields and woods. So it's pretty cool. I enjoy it. I know it's nerdy. I know it's sad, but I love it.
I can't imagine the kind of madman you would have to be to orchestrate and keep under control a role-playing game with 3,000 players in it. You'd have to be totally insane to do something like that.
They also have like a crew that plays all the NPCs who will like manage like NPCs and foreign visitors and all the the monster team, like all the crazy like evil villain factions and stuff. They're kind of managing that as a side game. And then they also do like they do nice little details, like they actually print out metal coins and little resources. So rather than you kind of having like a little piece of paper that's like, I have 5 gold coins, you actually get like
your LARP voice.
Money and
that's
stuff.
A good LARP accent.
I mean, it's pretty accurate, right? Like, yeah. So
yeah,
it's good. It's good shit.
Cool. That's good. LARPing is one of those things. Like Max, I bet you would love the shit out of it. I bet you if somebody dragged you to a LARP,
I've never done it, and when I was younger, I always looked at it and I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" But it's probably there's different levels of LARP, and I get that. But yeah, no, I'd be all about it, man. I was just saying, like, I'd love to go to a Ren fair that's all like fantasy, like fuck all the Renaissance shit. We're all just everything's fantasy for this. I'm going into I'm using fake ass gold coins.
Yep. Well, I think you'd love it, Max. Like if you ever want to give it a go over here in the UK, because it's a pretty cool one to come along to. Just give me a shout. Get you a ticket, mate.
That'd be cool.
Man,
got swords, armor, and all lend it all out.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Well, Max, we were hanging out like less than 24 hours ago, but you get up to anything cool today? You doing anything?
Nope, I woke up and I did this.
Nice. That's good.
Do you want the truth, or do you want me to make? Well, I got up.
No, what time?
I ordered.
What
some
time is it
from
in
my
your
DoorDash app?
What time is it? What time is it in your local time zone, Max? What time is it right now?
3:26 p.m. I was up at about like 2.
Yeah, getting up at 2 p.m. It's a good day so far. Yep.
The life of a streamer.
That's all I ever do. Don't take that away from me. It's the only thing I have, Max, is my ability to judge you.
I can see Anne
I'm glad
with disbelief and judgment. No words are said, but every the message is conveyed.
Well, because you said the life of a streamer, and I was thinking I woke up at 8 a.m. So
that's why I did it. That's why I saw your expression, and then I followed it up with me.
Some streamers.
I know there are other streamers that get up early. I'm actually working towards to getting up earlier again. What happens is I fix my sleep schedule for about 2 weeks, and then something else comes along, and it fucks it right back up, and then I have to dig myself out of that, and I feel like most people can relate to that.
Well, because you said also that you were up at 2 a.m. and like I went to sleep earlier than that, so it's like my schedule is just shifted a little bit earlier than yours. I don't know. I get really annoyed when people are like, when I say, "Oh, I got up really early today," it was 8 a.m., and there's always a person who's like, "I was up at 4 a.m."
4 a.m.
Yeah,
I
get up at 4 a.m. every day.
I'm sorry, your life's harder.
Yeah.
No, it's the exact same thing as when you're like, "Hey, it's really cold," and someone's like, "You think this is cold? It's cold where I'm from. I'm from a place that's colder than this. I don't even care." Like, fuck that.
I haven't
you,
seen the
that
sun
guy.
In 7 years. You're like, okay, chill out.
Right.
Great. I was still cold.
Someone's
today.
like, "Oh, I got kind of a headache," and you're like, "Yeah, well, I have an axe in my leg right now. I'm bleeding to death. So whatever your headache."
Yeah. It's this weird like human thing to be like, my pain is worse than your pain. Just like, why?
True.
Why are we fighting about who's in more pain? Why is that like a badge of honor?
I used to be one of those people that not harshly been like, it's not that cold. But I used to, because I grew up in Chicago, right? And I've always loved winter. So I used to do that, but I've backed off that a little bit since I went to California and then got my blood thinned and acclimated to the climate there. And then I came back home to visit. I was like, oh shit, it actually is pretty cold. I get it. And then you know the Chicago part of my brain was like, no, it's not. It's not cold. You're fine.
Yeah.
Shouting at you to stop being a baby and get it together, and you're embarrassing everybody else who's from Chicago.
Yeah.
Yep. I feel that. I think the reason people do that is that we're not good at like judging things as they stand. We have to like judge them based on our own experience of them, or we have to be like, cool, well, this is what I think. Here's my opinion. It's like, no one asked. I was just expressing that it was cold or hot or whatever. All right, bye, Max. So how about that, Max? What a guy. What a guy. Anne.
Yes.
You finished Spider-Man.
I did finish Spider-Man.
How do you feel now, having completed Spider-Man? And
good.
Did you do the thing where you did all the things? Did you 100% that shit?
No, I didn't, because I've reached the point where there's a lot of really tedious things to complete, and so I still want to do them, but it kind of feels like a waste to do it on stream, because it's like it's going to be like maybe 2 or 3 hours of just the same thing over and over and over again.
I always feel like that's an interesting balance with streaming games, and maybe I'm the only one who ever has this, where people will be like, well, why didn't you do the thing on stream? And we're like, it would be boring to watch. And they're like, yeah, but you should do it. And then if you do it, no one watches. And you're like, I fucking told you. There's no one here. What are you doing? Like this, it's me grinding for 4 hours. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good that you came to that point and we're like, cool, I think I'm done. Still feeling real good
and
about
they have DLC planned, so I'm excited about that. I got the Spider-Man Xbox, and somehow the circle button is broken. It like sticks every time I press it, which happens to be the dodge in Spider-Man, by the way, and dodging is very important. So, so I'm gonna have to see if I can get them to replace that controller, because did I say Xbox? Sorry, PlayStation. I was looking at a thing on my screen that has an X on it, and my brain.
You know what? It's fine.
Auto-corrected.
It's fine.
Yeah.
As we established some time ago, Bronze and I, all video game consoles are the same thing. They're all Nintendos. All role-playing games are
Spider-Man
D&D.
PlayStation. Or the Spider-Man Game Boy.
Yeah, I fucking love the Spider-Man Game Boy. It has a beautiful paint job. Yeah.
The special edition Spider-Man Dreamcast. And so I'm gonna have to see if I can get. Luckily, I still had another controller that I just switched them. But yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I was talking on stream about how I'm getting really tired of this trope in video games to do the like floating debris dream sequence with the disappearing villain.
Oh my god, I know. It's so lazy.
It did that like 3 times, and I was like, I love this game, but please, for the love of God, find another way of exploring the trauma of villains without doing this thing over and over and over again.
It's like Dishonored does that, Batman does that shit. Like, I'm so sick of that crap.
It's like it's the part in the video game. Max was asking what we're talking about. Where the debris is floating, and it's like a dream sequence, and the villain is there, and the villain's like, "You don't understand me," and the person is like, "I know, I saw what you went through," and he's like, "My family wasn't there," and then you see like a scene of like the family that's like a ghost family, you know, and they like explore kind of this like it's like this exposition of their lives, but it's just I'm so tired of it. It's like.
The thing I find the most egregious about it is the fucking RP walk, where you're like, I know how fast my character goes, and now you're making me go like a third that speed while I watch this exposition. Like, go, and I literally just crush my controller trying to get them to run faster. Like, come on, stop it, fuck.
What's nice is that in this one they kind of let you you could go through it pretty quickly if you wanted to, but I knew that if I just like zoomed through it, that chat would be pissed because they were like, the villain is like talking about his life or whatever.
You're missing a story. Yeah.
So there were parts of it that I was like, I'm not like a huge fan of this. But overall, it was really, really awesome. I love that game, so definitely recommend it.
That's good.
I'm excited that they have like DLC already planned with.
Is it going to be like foreshadowing? Like more story type stuff, like a new villain or like that kind of deal, or?
I'm pretty sure there's some stuff after the credits that they kind of hint at where the story is probably going. So, we're pretty sure that we know what it is, but I don't want to say just in case. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah, cool. That's exciting. Yeah, I like that. Well crafted DLC is it's like a gift because it's so easy to make DLC bad, and so when it's good, it just feels like it's an angel has delivered it from video game heaven into your hands. You're like, thank you for not punching me in the face with this terrible DLC because there's so much bad DLC out there.
Well, it's like The Witcher 3, the 2 DLCs for it. I feel like there's a lot of people who say that like one of them especially is like better than even the main storyline. Like that's how good it is, and it's like 15.
Bloodborne's the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and I think that's reasonable. Like it makes sense because you've made this whole game and you have a bunch of experience making the game, and now you're like, okay, let's do that thing, but better in a tightly focused way. Like let's make one small thing and make it really good because we understand what like making Bloodborne or The Witcher or whatever is about.
Yeah.
And that's also why we're starting to get some of those spin-offs though, right? Like I loved Uncharted Lost Legacy, and that was what, like a $30 or a $40 game? Yeah. It was just like, when you really think about it, it was in the same engine as Uncharted. So it was just like a really huge DLC. But I mean, it was amazing. I loved it. Yeah. It was awesome.
Like maybe, I like the idea that maybe every story game doesn't need to be $60 and like 20 hours.
Agreed.
Like this cookie cutter, like this is how much this is. You know, you can make me a 12 to 15 hour game that's like 30 or $40 that has a really good story, even if it's like you're building it in this existing world that's exploring some of these other characters. Super cool. I love Uncharted. It's great.
Yeah, Uncharted.
That's a good call. It would be really cool to see more of that. More like where we're getting these kind of like tightly focused experiences that it's one story instead of like you pay whatever $90 for like 1,800 stories and you can only really follow one of them at a time. It'd be cool to just be like, yeah, here's like 10 hours of this content. It's really focused. It's good. And it's an add-on to an existing game. I like that idea. Tightly focused games, smaller stuff. Yeah. Word.
Especially these days, having those 8-hour cinematic games is just so good. Like, you know, when I don't have like 90 hours to plug into a game, being able to get something, you know, super fun and just exciting in 8 hours, 9 hours is great.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm hyped about good DLC. I'm thinking about cool DLC. Bronze, tell me about your Tales from the Loop game. How is it going? I've watched bits and pieces here and there. It looks like a riot. How is your game?
Yeah,
is it good?
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, I am. It's fun. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of the system.
Yeah,
it's like,
tell me about that.
Putting that out there. Well, it's like only 6s count as successes, and you add like, it's a really simple system, so I guess there's like a bright side of it. I was actually talking about this on my stream earlier today about how for me I like crunchier systems. I just do. And maybe it's because I started with 3.5, but sometimes I feel like it's hard to inject a lot of drama into certain situations where so many of the mechanics rely on like re-rolling dice that you've already rolled. And that's kind of the main, one of the main mechanics in Tales from the Loop. So even though the setting is really cool, and even though like some of the stuff I'm not going to say the system overall isn't good. It's just like, sometimes I get frustrated with how simplistic the combat is and how it just comes down to like, oh, this player is going to do this roll and they got 2 successes, but they needed 3. And it's just, I don't know how to describe it. After playing systems like even like Blades in the Dark is a little bit more interesting than that and stuff. And it's just really kind of lame to be like, oh, you didn't get the appropriate number of successes, so now you're going to get like a condition and you mark that condition down and it affects your likelihood of getting more successes. And it's just, I don't know. Like, it's not a terrible system. I like it still, and I'm having fun with the campaign. But when I'm done playing it, I'm like excited to go into crunchier systems or more structured systems.
Yeah, the thing I think that is true about Tales from the Loop, and I think that it's good. It's a good system to stream with a group of players who don't really like attach to. Like we've got Oddballs uses a modified Tales from the Loop, and we've done Tales one shots. It's good for people who don't super want to like dig into that stuff. It's pretty good to stream if you have people whose main goal is like do a funny voice and like make a funny scene, and then it's there to resolve problems. I think it can work really well for that. But like you said, you kind of make the one roll and you're like, well, That's it. Move on to the next thing. And yeah, I think Modifius basically just took kind of the simplest stuff from like Apocalypse World and Blades and a couple of other kind of like indie systems, and we're like, here, this is a nice, easy to digest game that you can play to support the art, because that's where that whole game came from.
Yeah. And the art and the setting is fantastic, but some of that stuff is like, just kind of wish that there was.
They're making a TV show, so that might be
really
cool. Yeah. It's Amazon though, so I mean, who knows? But I like the excitement arc there was like, whoa, boy. Sorry, Amazon TV Studios. Nobody has any faith in your ability to make anything good. Sorry.
I mean, their reboot of Suspiria looks good. But I mean, they also have like an amazing cast. But I mean, that's a movie though. That's not a show. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, how did you feel about the Captain Marvel trailer? Sorry, I just got really excited because I remembered.
Yeah.
I was about to bring it up.
I'm probably not gonna have a super popular opinion on that. Like, it was cool, but it didn't blow me away. Like, part of it is like, okay, like we had for a while there. I'm just gonna say this. For a while there, it kind of felt like every single superhero movie that was coming out all kind of felt the same. They had kind of the same musical score and this, that, and the other. And then Marvel shook up the formula. And they started it a little bit with Guardians of the Galaxy. They managed to like create an actual Guardians movie that was a little bit like dorky and weird, because Guardians is kind of freaking weird. And then they kind of continued on that trend. And we had like these series of trailers that were like so incredibly like flavorful. Like we got the Black Panther trailer that gave us a perfect taste of what that movie was going to look like. We got the Thor Ragnarok trailer that gave us a perfect feel of how they were going to bring like they finally figured out how to make a Thor movie, right? It only took them 3 tries. And so like, let's make a trailer that's indicative of that. And I also felt that way about Spider-Man Homecoming. Like, oh, this trailer kind of like gave us a taste of like how this is going to be very much a Peter Parker movie, and how are they going to capture that? And then you have the Captain Marvel one, and to me, it just felt really generic. There was some moments in it that I definitely was like, okay, cool. But like at the end, it did feel like a little bit like, oh, you know, DC made a female-led superhero film, so we're gonna do this really cheesy thing where we write her, and then it's gonna zoom back and say a hero, because we have to really like push that on you and remind you that this is our first time making a superhero film with a female lead.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like were some of the scenes cool? Yes, seeing like the young Captain Marvel like stand up through all the different stages and stuff, like that was awesome. But some of it just definitely felt like okay, yeah. I'm more excited for Shazam. There, I said it. And I'm Carol Core. I've been Carol Core for like 6 or 7 years. I have like Captain Marvel #1 with Monica Rambeau on the cover. So before you say, well, I'm a big fan of Captain Marvel, I am too, bitch. So, but the thing is, like, it's just
I didn't know what to expect from that Shazam trailer, and then I watched it, and then I immediately watched the trailer for Big again, and I was like, okay, it's Big with superpowers, cool.
Yeah, but it has like a very distinct, like, I feel like flavor, and I wanted a Captain Marvel trailer that had like a flavor.
I mean, it's only the first trailer. Who knows? She punched an old lady. There was a Blockbuster video in it. I don't really remember anything else. Like,
see, so you kind of agree with me then. Like, it's not.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's too early to like have any feelings or opinions about it for me. Like, I need to go and watch it, and then I'll decide what I think. But the trailer, it was just kind of like an action movie trailer with a Blockbuster in it. She punched that old lady. That was the best part. Fuck that old lady. She's probably a Skrull. I hope she isn't. I hope it was just an old lady. I hope that scene in the movie is Captain Marvel gets on the bus, and that old lady's like, nice pants. And Captain Marvel's like, fuck you, and just punches her. She just goes right out the window. She's like, don't fuck with me. I'm Captain Marvel. That's it. That's what I hope. I hope that's the take. Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. It's kind of cool. I like the Skrull creep thing, and like Marvel Boy is cool, and I want to see what that's about. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm amazed that they're still making all these movies. A 12-year-old Adam would not have believed there's so many superhero movies.
I know.
So, Chad just voiced my concern over it. If Brie Larson had charisma or personality, I'd be hopeful.
Wow.
I was like, I remember watching the trailer, and at the end of it, she's just like, I'm not what you think I am. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh my God,
Hello?
she's the Geralt of the Marvel universe.
It was so weird. Yeah, it was just a very like her the whole time in that trailer, her like facial expression, her personality was just like this the whole time. So it was just like,
no
are you
range.
awake? Like, what's happening? So
No,
I
listen,
don't know.
listen,
at
and you
least
just
I
don't
know
understand.
I'm
You don't
fine.
understand. You don't understand the character. She underwent a special Kree process that dampened her emotions. Okay, so you just don't. You don't get it. She's just supposed to sound like
Mutagens.
that, and it's mutagens. It's mutagens.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
just happy I
fair.
found my people because it seems like everyone else was like throwing their panties at the monitor, and I was like, "Did we watch the same trailer?" Because
I'm excited to see it, but like not as excited as I was about like Black Panther and like the other ones you're mentioning where there was like color to it, and I just feel like I don't know. I'm not like stoked about it, but we'll see.
Yeah, there you go. It's good. It's good to have opinions because that's then later when it comes out and it's really bad, you can point back to this and be like, "See, I fucking told you." Or if it's really good, you can be like, "Well, I guess I was wrong," and that's a nice way to feel too. It's nice to be wrong when you think something's going to be bad and then it's going to be good, not like The Predator, which I don't want to ever talk about ever again. My God.
we don't speak of that.
We won't speak of that film. It was terrible. So anyway, let's play some role-playing games. I need goals from you. My dear friends, before we continue. Does anyone have their goal already figured out? Or do you want to do like a little quick recap and talk about kind of what's going on?
Yeah, quick
Do that?
recap is
Yeah, that'd be good.
I know what it is with us drinking.
Okay.
Chaplain.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, the last scene was just kind of a scene of Booker drinking in the bar with this mysterious woman. Well, she's not mysterious if you're paying attention, but this unnamed, unspeaking woman who took the alcohol. And it was you guys drinking, and that was kind of our last scene. But before that, the Amira received a data packet from the STO, an unencrypted data packet that explains kind of what was going on with Sunil and his deal. What's the deal with Sunil? He's an embezzler, and that he was trying to get out. He was trying to get paid so he could get out of this marriage situation that was going to go bad for him. There was an interrogation of a triangulum, a fallen triangulum noble who had a connection to an extant Cygnus who was helping him with codes to undertake this plot to destroy the ship that Alexander Karsten was in charge of. The chaplain interrogated her briefly, learning a little bit about kind of some peripheral stuff, but not the specific operation. The word Berkman was thrown around as a place that might be worth following up on. And also Yancey had mentioned to Nomi early on that he had some messages that he had to deal with, something about Berkman. So that's come up twice now. And what do we do at the beginning? I think there was just some like glad handing and back thumping and yeah, we're the best about getting rid of those terrorists and then putting them away in a safe place. So when we begin, I think probably this first bit could be about the fallout of, or the last little bits of like deciding what to do with Karsten and Yancey's little like PR operation where Nomi and he talked to Prism about kind of their success in capturing the famed terrorist Alexander Karsten. Figure out what you want to do with that information. Deciding kind of what the next operation is. And I think it would be reasonable to assume that if you don't have something like particular to write a belief about your next mission. So like get ready for the next mission. Prepare for the trip to Berkman, because I'll give it away. That's the next thing. The ship is going to be headed towards Berkman 3. And to go and investigate that, but you may not all necessarily like have that as your core focus. I'm really interested, mainly in Bronze, unless you don't want to start, interested in talking to you about what your goal is around this STO data pack and what you're going to do, because you have information that House Crux will not have for like another 2 or 3 days, which is why they haven't left the system yet. They're waiting on the decrypt from HQ. So what do you want your goal to be today, and is it connected to that?
It is. So first off, I want to figure out who sent it. That's gonna be number 1.
Okay.
And number 2, I thinking back and remembering that my aunt has her hands in this. I'm gonna ask her for for whether she thinks I should. I'm going to ask her for her advice because I have a couple different options here.
Okay. All right. Which one of those things do you want, or do you want to be able to like rope those two into one thing that makes that can make up your goal?
Yeah.
So talk to your aunt about the data pack. Like, tell her you have it, or because like ultimately it's figure out who sent it, talk to her, get her advice, and both of those things serve a greater goal, which is like decide what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like make a conclusion on that. Okay.
Yeah, like figure
I
out
think that's fair.
if I should hand this over to Acre or if I should hand this over to the leadership on my team. Or if
giving it to the Acre rep would be a bold move.
Right? I thought about it.
I'm working for Acre. What is this? I thought this was a new character.
Well, listen, Acre and House Vela have a complicated relationship, all right? They've been seen around town together, and people are starting to talk. So let's see, decide what to do with the data packet, the STO packet, and then do it, right? Like take action.
Yeah.
Whatever that action ends up being. Okay. Good. Okay, cool. All right. Let's see.
Wow.
Chaplain.
I'm attacked.
Chaplain, what do you want to do?
No.
Listen, to be fair, Bronze, your last character wasn't a person. This character is, so that's nice.
It's true.
All right, Valencia.
So rude.
So we know that we know that they've got plans on Berkman, and there's something to do with the High Church on Berkman, right? I remember learning that there's some stuff on there.
The High Church and the Trilliant Ring have been improving the lives of Berkmanians everywhere.
Okay. So I mean I don't know if it's a goal, but I think what I want to do is basically contact the High Church and like warn them about Berkman and get them started on making sure that there's no plans for attack, because that was what we learned from Karsten, was that she said that their next mission was meant to be on Berkman or something like that. That they would.
That's right. Yeah, we were going to going to Berkman.
Yeah, that's what I got out of her. So I think like for me, it's like wanting to contact the High Church and basically tell them that and prepare for our arrival into look into these matters or something like that. But I don't know how to phrase it as a necessary goal. So that sounds really easy.
Yeah, I think send word ahead and warn the High Church that that's not so much a goal necessarily. I guess what does that serve? Like if you do that, the idea is that you want to like save lives if there's like an attack or whatever.
Yeah, and basically protect the High Church is the main concern there.
Okay. All right.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting in touch with them. Maybe there's a way that you need to do this like without anyone else, like doing it securely, because that's the trick. Because any communication off the ship, House Crux will be able to like hear. So unless you're okay with that, finding a way to securely send word to the High Church in Berkman. That seems like more of a goal.
No idea how I'm going to do it, but yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. All right. Nomi, you know what you want your goal to be?
So when I had talked to Marlowe before he
had his unfortunate encounter with deep space.
He mentioned a Triangulum Cygnus Laurencio Jalen, correct? And so I want to. I don't know if he gave me any information on that besides just the name.
No.
But I would like to try and find like a last known location for that person.
Okay. So track down Cygnus Laurencio Jalen. Jalen is his last name, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. So you want to track him down? Okay. All right. Track down. Fake Triangulum. Okay, cool. Booker, what would you like your goal to be?
My goal. How high up is Arnhem?
So Arnahan is a sergeant. And I had this.
Better question would be, how relevant is she, and is she going to be on a lot of operations going forward based on what Booker knows?
Yeah. So she's a serf. She's a serf that has hit her. This is something that I was talking to Chad about actually after the last episode. So Arnahan is technically a serf. She's not a noble at all. She is if she hasn't already, she's about to hit her ceiling. Now, she has been taking some very bold moves, lipping you off the way that she has. So if you want to, like, you are well within your right. You are well within your right to just shoot her in the face if you want to. You'll have to pay for it, and you'll have the captain up your ass. But she is a peasant, and she's not acting with the proper deference towards Crux Greaves Booker. But if you're gonna lip off anybody, it's gonna be you, right? Because you're likely to let her get away with it. But yes, technically she is. I think she's of the same or slightly higher military rank than you, but she's not a noble. So
yeah, okay, well, I didn't know she was a serf before, and it lines up with my goal that I was going to make. Work should dispel doubts in Booker and set Arnahan straight.
Okay, so why don't we say set Arnahan straight?
Kind of combined, you know.
Set Arnahan straight, and then like so that's the goal, and then the point is to like let everybody else know,
like start to dispel this bullshit of like Booker's weak, Booker's compromised, you know, like no, I'm still fucking Booker.
Okay.
Whether or not that's actually true, you know, he feels it important to at least start to kind of wind the clocks back a year.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like it. Good. Deal with Arnahan in whatever way is appropriate. Yeah. So legally, you've got lots of options outside of just talking to her. Like you have witnesses, depending on how reliable they're going to be. That she has been acting in a manner discourteous to a noble. So that's one thing. You could demand satisfaction from the noble that owns her, though you don't know who that is. So if you found that out, you could go and demand that you duel them. You could be like, slap them in the face with a glove and be like, have at thee, because their dog is misbehaving. You could, I mean, it'd be overreacting, but you could just like have her killed. You could just shoot her and be like, you can't talk to me like that. And then deal with like whoever owns her.
That's not what
I know. I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know what your options are. She's not a person. She is someone else's belonging. Yeah, she's not a person. She's someone else's belonging, and she's been misbehaving. She's someone else's dog who peed on your shoes, and you are within your rights to deal with that as befits a noble of your standing.
Booker remembered.
But also she's more popular than you right now, so there's a lot of matrices of.
It's not about popularity what he's doing right now. No. It's not about popularity.
Yeah, okay.
It's about reestablishing reputation.
Yes. Okay. I see. I understand the difference between the two. It's more about social dominance than it is about like, yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm excited to see how that goes. Let's begin. Let's begin with there is that we see your Kriegsherr. You see his office. So we see Yancey in his uniform. He's at his desk. The room is relatively Spartan. Like for the rest of the universe, this would be considered fairly Spartan, but not quite as minimalist as the Richter's office. There's a photograph of Yancey's family on the desk of him with his mother and father on Hyra. There are a couple of like academy trophies behind him in a case. So you can see that he's like got a rowing team trophy and a couple of other things that show off how great he is. Of course, he's the and of course, yeah. And he has a like an antique hunting rifle that's mounted up on the wall behind him, and he is sitting at the desk and he's looking at the camera. And as we pull back, we can see that he is sitting with Nomi and the chaplain. And he has a neutral effect. He doesn't look like he's angry. This isn't a dressing down. And he sees the two of you, and we get this scene established. And he says, so there's just this matter of the triangulum that you interrogated, Cirrus. Now, I'm not admonishing you. You get shit done. I appreciate that about you. I'm not here to give you a hard time about that. But we have to deal with the fact that we have a noble corpse floating around somewhere in orbit over the planet. Now, I'm not saying this fucker didn't deserve it. And I'm not saying that I and the rest of our unit wouldn't back you up on that. But these things can be delicate. Chaplain, that's why I asked you here. Now, we both know that this man was a criminal.
Indeed.
Working with terrorists. And we both know that it would only be a matter of time before he would have been convicted of a number of treasons, both large and small. Crimes against the very empire. You can't spend time with a person like Alexandra Karsten without becoming infected by that kind of ideology. Unfortunately, and he casts a quick glance at Nomi, but doesn't say anything. Unfortunately, that trial will no longer be possible. I've been conferring with the Richter, and he and I both agree that the best way out of this for all of us is that we have the chaplain, or you'll have to excuse me, chaplain, I'm not entirely up to date on my church protocols. I'm not sure what you can or can't do, but I'm sure you know people. We need the chaplain to have issued a retroactive excommunication. I've gone ahead and filled out the paperwork, and he puts down a tablet in front of you, and you can see that it's paperwork for an excommunication. It just says like the name of it has Marlowe's name on it. It has all of the relevant data, all of his crimes that he's committed. There is a known he's a known accomplice of the excommunicate Alexander Karsten, and all it requires is the seal of the church. And he's already put his seal. The Richter seal is on there, and he says to you, your family here on the jurisprudence would appreciate your assistance in obtaining swift justice for this false noble.
Bow my head. It's lieutenant, right? He's a lieutenant now.
Yep, you can call him Lieutenant Kriegsherr if you want to get Germanic about it.
If I just quickly, just with a kind of idle finger, just scroll through the paperwork, has Yancey added, has he just added tons of crimes to this guy's rap sheet?
So you want to make a quick look to see if it's actually legit?
More, not
okay.
And the face is very placid, there's no judgment.
Yeah.
It's just almost like a curious, I'm just flicking through it, and just there's almost maybe a slight smile as well, a very, very slight smirk as I just scroll through.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Make an administer check with intelligence. Administer with intelligence.
Sure. Nope.
Ooh. Okay. Listen, there's functionally two kinds of crooks, right? There's cops and there's lawyers. Mm-hmm. This was not a document written by a police officer, so he's had some help, and this is there's a lot here, pursuant to subsection 4 of the Justice Code of Hyra, and a lot of talk about it looks legit, but it's also engineered to look that way.
I will look at Lieutenant Yancey, look at Nomi, and just say, Lieutenant, of course I would be more than happy to assist my family here on the Prudence, and I am very confident that myself, and I look over at Nomi, Cirrus Carr, this man was a criminal and a sinner, and he has betrayed his empire. There is one slight problem. I would be more than happy to sign this, but I am a humble chaplain. I gave up the opportunity to issue such matters long ago in order to fulfill my greater role. I would probably need to speak to somebody within the high church. There is someone I know who I am sure, if they receive my personal assurances of this man's crimes and that I had spoken to him, would be more than willing to sign this on our behalf. I will simply need to speak with them.
And he nods, and he says, looking at Nomi, he says, well, I'm sure that the Cirrus appreciates your efforts on her behalf. It wouldn't behoove us to get tangled up in inter-house squabbling just because the Cirrus decided to extricate some justice. I appreciate your initiative, Nomi, and it sounds like the chaplain should be able to help. I'll leave it in your hands, chaplain.
The justice was served, and I believe that we have all done our diligence to the Empire here. This is simply a formality of bureaucracy, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so Nomi, you're watching Yancey and the chaplain both like nodding at each other like, we're great, we're good, we did the right thing today, good, go us. And you're the one that had to do the thing. Do you say anything, or are you just observing this conversation that's about you?
Am I understanding correctly that it's in my better interest for this to be signed like quicker, or does it matter if we like wait for him to? I don't know if it makes a difference.
The longer you wait, the more likely that someone in House Triangulum will find out that one of their nobles got kicked out the airlock, and there wasn't a trial first, and it could get someone might like want to duel you. You don't know anything about the rest of this person's family. Yeah.
Cool. I want to, so like as I'm watching this conversation happen, it's the chaplain is just resistant to signing it. It's not that he legally can't. Like he could sign it, right? He just kind of doesn't want to.
I mean, I don't think you know enough about the church hierarchy to know if that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually don't think he would be that high enough of a rank, because I think I don't know.
I mean, I tend to from at a player level, I tend to agree with you. I think that the chaplain can't personally do this, but he certainly does have the
I know
clout to ask. He can ask. He knows people. He can ask around.
Yeah. Then if I'm like kind of at his mercy, I guess, like there's not a lot that I can do about this because it's not like I can sign it. So I'll just like I look at the chaplain and I just say, I appreciate your help with this matter, chaplain. I'm sure that it will be in all of our best interest for this matter to be taken care of expediently. I trust that you will do your best to make sure that that happens.
Indeed, I agree, Cirrus, absolutely. There may be a way that you can help me expedite it, but we can discuss that later. This is something that we do not need to trouble the lieutenant with.
Cool. I just look back at Yancey.
And he, the Kriegsherr nods, and he says, well, whatever you do, make it quick. We're only going to be in system for another few days. Once we have this information cracked, we're leaving. They need us in Berkman.
I'm glad to hear it. Yes.
And he says, he looks at the two of you and he says, that'll be all.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you, sir. And I like stand up, leave.
Yeah, I'll follow Nomi. And then when we maybe get a little bit.
So as you get up, the chaplain, as you get to the door, Yancey says, Cirrus, a moment.
Cool. I just stop
my head to the both of them.
Okay. So so Valencia, you walk out the door and it sees it shut behind you, and you're gonna just like hang out and wait.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just before I leave, I'll just say to Nomi, I'll just say, Cirrus, when you're finished with the lieutenant, come and find me, and there may be a way that you can help me, as I mentioned. And then I'll head off and head to the chapel, I guess. Do some holy stuff.
Yeah. So Nomi, you're standing now, and you're like kind of halfway across the room when he stops you, and you turn, and he says, I want you to know that I'm entirely behind you on this. Serpens has been a loyal ally to House Crux for as long as I've been alive, certainly. And I like our partnership. I like your decisiveness. You strike when striking needs being done. I see a future for you here on this ship. With me. With the house.
Thank you, sir. Is there something you have in mind?
No. I'm keeping an eye on you, Cirrus. There'll be opportunities when we reach Berkman for more of your decisive action. Your watchful eye. I'll brief you when we arrive.
Thank you. It pleases me that my methodology is in line with your idea of the future.
Good. I want you to act with confidence that House Crux will protect you when it is required. Don't worry about this triangulum problem. We both know he got what he deserved.
I just kind of incline my head.
Yeah, and he nods and he like presses the door release on his desk, and the door like slides open as a way of being like, cool, we're done.
Yeah. I don't say anything else. I just leave.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you head out. So meanwhile, let's cut to the Amira. So when we cut back to you, where are you, Amira? Are you on your way to see your aunt? Are you still in your room, like looking over this document?
Yeah. So first off, I'm gonna probably solicit the assistance of my assistant. It's a nice word
Your
for
serf?
it. My intern.
Okay.
Surf is such a nasty word for it. And
Yeah.
whoa! Chill, Mark. That is a
Listen,
nasty
this is
word
not-
for it.
This is not an empire that allows slavery, okay? We don't have slaves in the empire, okay? You can be born into indentured servitude and live that way for generations, but you're not a slave, all right? You're a serf.
Not a slave.
Take care of our serfs. You're not a slave.
Rude.
That was how Cygnus's original words. Not a slave. What was your friend's name again? Do you remember?
Is it bad that I forgot? I like almost
Is it
immediately
like Eleanor or something?
out of my head.
I think it's in character for you to have forgotten.
Yeah,
I think
I was
that's
like,
reasonable.
I'm never gonna call her by this name, so I never thought
I wrote
of
it down. I think I forgot too. Obviously. Oh, here we go. Eleanor Guzman.
It wasn't.
Her name was Eleanor.
Yeah, that sounds right.
all right.
I normally just snap at her or say,
Guzman.
you.
Guzman.
Guzman.
Servant
I'm
to the
fetching you
Amira.
guys, peoples.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Guzman.
Polish my shoes, Guzman.
Your voice
Yeah,
only changes
good.
when you address her too.
Perfect. It's perfect.
I think
love it.
last
Okay,
episode I called her Emily. That's gonna be my new thing. I'm just gonna call her a different E name. Yeah, every
Wait a second,
time.
if you're calling her Emily by mistake, does that mean that you're what's her name from The Devil Wears Prada now?
Yep.
Is that you?
Yep.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
amazing.
What's her name? Meryl Streep?
No, I was trying to remember the character's name. I remember Meryl Streep's name. Come on now.
Well, she's one of them actresses that's really she's
One
good.
of them actresses
You know.
everybody likes. Yeah.
You know what?
I
It's
can't
because
remember the name
she's
of the
so
character.
good at playing the roles. We don't even see the actress. We see the characters. Boom.
Yeah.
Lawyered
Yeah.
or something.
Thank you.
On this.
Lawyer.
Thank you for that. Handled like a true crux. Okay. So yeah, so
Miranda
you've got
Priestley. Sorry.
there it is.
It was gonna bother me.
So you've got this.
Aha!
Yeah. All right. Okay. So you got this thing going on where you have your indentured servant tending to you, and yeah. So what is it? She like any good servant. As soon as you think you might need her, you look up and there she is. So she's standing in her servant's robes, hands folded, waiting for you. Because often if you get mail, there's something to do, something to act on it. So what do you
Right.
what do you say to her?
I'll just smile to her nice and wide and say, "Ah, Astrid, thank you so much. I was just going to call for you." And I'm going to motion to the data pad and be like, "I was hoping you could maybe assist me in tracking down where this came from or who sent this information to me."
And she looks at it and she says, "Of course, my lady. I could ask the communications department if they have a trace on it, if you'd like more specific information."
That would be perfect. And please, just make sure you handle this matter with a little bit of discretion. That discretion that our house prides so very much.
I'm afraid that might be difficult, my lady. House crux and discretion don't often go hand in hand. I'm afraid that if I take this request to the communications department, it will become public knowledge.
Do we have any other options? Some
couldn't
back
say, my
channels,
lady.
perhaps?
It would not be appropriate for me to make these sorts of suggestions, my lady.
Very well, then. I'll ask around. It could be that I know someone.
And she nods and she says, "I await your command, my lady."
All right. Well, dismissed, Emily. Have a nice day.
Cool. She clutches the pistol under her robes tighter, thinking of the day when she will finally be able to put you out an airlock. Nope. She gleefully goes, "Listen, she's got a better life than most peasants." So yeah, she is dismissed, and she returns to whatever chore you had her doing before.
She was washing my boots because they were covered
Yeah, right.
in blood.
Exactly. She thanks you for being dismissed and returns to attending to your wardrobe. Okay, so what are you gonna do?
Okay, so I'm wondering if I have the henchkeeper skill.
You sure do.
And I'm wondering if I might have another henchman who might be able to help me.
You're gonna reach out into the deeper network. Yeah, let's look at how henchkeeper works. So I think you already have your one free henchman from this community. But you could make a connect roll to conjure up another person who would be willing to do what you want. Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as you go to Berkman, though, give it 24 hours and someone will just show up and be like, "I aim to please."
It's a nice
be awesome.
power to
You just
have.
Yeah, right? You just like go to a place, you're like, "Oh, I'm only gonna be in New York for 48 hours." But after the first day, someone just calls you and like, "I'm here to help. What do you need?"
Isn't that being an influencer?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Where's my
I told
henchman?
myself,
Damn.
I was like, when I become a noble, since, I'm no longer a peasant, I need to be a henchkeeper. Because that's just, I gotta have an army of henchmen.
Do you want to connect with someone on the ship?
I'm thinking either I can connect with someone, or I can maybe talk to my aunt and see if she knows someone.
Yeah, because that was also part of your plan.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do that. And if that doesn't work out, then I'll try to find someone else through my own means.
Okay. All right. So so you leave and we follow you to, I think that your aunt is on duty. It doesn't mean she can't talk, but like she's in the navigation, like she's not at the station on the bridge because the bridge is in like standby, but she would be in the navigation, the astral navigation like department. We've seen that before. We've seen her in there in the library.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we see you outside the door to the archive, the ship's map archives. It has a pad that you have to like put your hand on that scans you. You are given access as a member of House Vela rather than a member of the crew. And on the door we see the mark of House Crux, and then in minor the mark of House Vela to indicate that this is not entirely Crux property. This is a leased part of the ship because the maps are technically property of House Vela. And so when you come in, you see your aunt, and she's at work. She's not among strangers, so she's unveiled. She's got her sleeves rolled up, and she has henchmen as well. She's commanding the rest of her her archive team, and it looks like they're doing some data reorganization. And we see a team pulling a sheet of data storage crystals out and like tending to them, basically like doing some cleaning and adjusting. And when you come in, she turns and she smiles. And since we haven't seen her in a while, she is the ship's navigator. She's the navigatrix of this vessel. She has essentially like two uniforms. She has her like functionary uniform, which is the more mysterious like veil and the Valen kind of ultramarine, that outfit with the gold jewelry. And then she has her like working uniform, which she's wearing now, her archivist uniform. And yeah, and this one is much more like a member of a ship's crew, though it's still quite nice and it's embellished. She has on one shoulder a couple of like house and family pins, and then like a gold chain that leads to her other shoulder that has like an attached to an epaulette. She's an older lady, I get older than you. She looks like we'd cast her an actress in her late 50s or early 60s, and she is French, a mix of French and Korean. And when you come in, the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes turn up as she smiles, and she says, "Kiran, it's good to see you. Have you come to help?" And she looks over at the serfs and she says, "These ones are useless. I could use another pair of expert hands."
Actually, I was hoping for the reverse. I was hoping you could help me.
Oh, with what?
Cast an eye side to side. Well, the matter was a little bit private. I wouldn't bother you while you were at work. I know your job is very important, Auntie, but it's a little bit urgent and it requires a little bit of subtlety.
And she looks at the serfs and then back at you, and she says, "This is as safe a place as any to have a sensitive conversation. The Crux don't have their eyes and ears in here. It would interfere with the navigation. Anything you need to say, you can say here in safety."
Very well. And I just kind of like stand and pause for a moment. I was hoping to get your advice regarding the handling of some information that has, through mysterious channels, come my way.
Is that so? Is your mother sending you more profiles, future husbands?
If only it were that simple. Her I can handle.
I'm intrigued.
I'm just gonna sort of like flip my data pad and kind of silently like push it her way.
Okay, yeah, she takes it from you, and you have the STO, like the communique.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, yeah, she like flips through it, and we get the reaction on her face, right? So she wrinkles her forehead and kind of purses her lips, and she spends enough time on it that we know that she's actually reading bits and pieces and not just like looking at the header. And she looks back at you, and she says, "Well, you certainly have made yourself busy these last few days, haven't you?"
I try. I mean, you did say you'd like to see me find my passion, so to speak.
I heard about what happened on the sad songs. You're going to join the military now.
No, although I would say I have a little bit of a knack for it, don't you think?
That's what I heard. So what is this? It looks sensitive and comes from our
It
partners
is.
at the STO.
It does. I want to know exactly who it comes from. And I don't want anyone else knowing exactly who it came from. So I think you see a little bit of my predicament here.
Private communication back and forth through this ship is very rare, but not entirely unheard of. We all have our business. I'm sure that if you receive this from someone in system, the Crux are working on cracking it already. But I think our encryption will hold. You have a few days, anyway. And you say you received this from a mysterious source. I wonder.
One who claims to be a friend, no less.
And what is it this friend expects you to do with this information? This could cast our house in an unpleasant light, at least on this ship. If the Crux were to find out.
If they were to find out.
Do you have a reason to believe that they won't?
No, But we have a few days, from my understanding.
We do. Is this a conspiracy now?
No. That's such a nasty word for it.
And she grins like she's kind of like giving you a little shove, and then is like, no, it's okay. Like, we're fine.
Well,
Hmm.
I don't think it would do to have a Valen implicated in some of these terrorist attacks that have been propagated against our allies in the STL.
Yes, Crux has had a stick up their ass for some time about our involvement in that organization. It would not be helpful to us to make it worse. And I'm the only person you've shown this to.
Yes.
Outside of this room, my movements are... House Crux keeps a close eye on me. I cannot come and go as freely as you might think. I'm an important asset. My contract, another several years, and Crux protects their investments. But there is someone else on the ship. You may... And you can see she's like, she regrets even beginning the thought, and then like looks away, and she says, perhaps it is best for you to just keep this to yourself. Let all of this blow over. This Sunil, he is gone to meet his maker and cannot be punished anymore. His family, they might pay for his mistakes, but that's how these things work. Let's not get ourselves entangled in it. I think that would be prudent. Don't you?
Well, and I've just been assigned to a team that works for House Crux. Any implication with this could only put my own career and my own self in harm's way.
If you think that you have a bullet to dodge and that this is giving you forewarning, then use it, but I fear you are overcomplicating things. And I think you can you make a notice roll with wisdom?
Okay. Oh gosh, all threes today.
Okay, yeah. Something's going on. She's doing a good job covering what she's actually feeling. But she wants you to drop it. She's just like, let it go. Let Crux deal with it.
Okay. I'm still curious where it came from. Aren't you?
Well, you know what they say about curiosity.
I'm not a cat.
And she nods. Good. Then you know you only have one life. Be careful with it. These politics are dangerous business. If you thought worrying yourself about getting married was an issue, these corporates, they don't think the way that you do, that I do. They don't have our spirit. This may be a trap. They may be trying to make you look bad. And she just shakes her head and she says, I have to get back to work.
I have taken up quite a bit of your time.
Do you want to try to push her? Because you can put some pressure on. You can be like, yeah, but because so far it's just been like polite and like asking. So you could be like, no, listen. Like you could put some sauce on it if you want to.
Yeah. Get more flies with honey.
I mean, that's the question, right? So you can either offer her something or you can like put pressure on her to help you. But for right now, she's like, I gave you my advice. It's to get the fuck out of here and not worry about it. But she seems like something is going on. You just can't figure out what it is.
Okay. I'll just say, in And telling me to not get involved, I get the sense that maybe you're speaking a little bit from experience. I know you have some contacts, Auntie. I did see the data pad on your table.
She nods and she says, yes, well, when we are on the savannah, sometimes we have to lay with lions. Doesn't mean we have to like it.
Wouldn't it benefit you to know if someone's leaking information from the inside?
You have been given something that looks like a gift. It may not be. There may be a serpent in that basket.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of how I want to push
No,
her.
it's okay. Yeah, it's a lot, right? Because if you push too hard, it's gonna change. I mean, either way, this is the choice where like you give her what she wants and back off, or you push and it's gonna change. It'll change your relationship, right? Because it's less like, hey, this is just a friendly chat, and more like you have to help me, or like you're part. Because there's some thread there where you could be like, no, you're already a part of this. If this is a trap, it's for you too.
Yeah.
It just depends on how Kiran would push, right?
I think it would benefit you to help me. Because I'll be honest with you right now. I'm not going to let it go. So we can either do this my way through the proper channels, or I could start using some of my own network. Things could get messy. And if they get messy for me, they could get messy for you.
Damn. All right. Okay. All right. Roll the talk. Yeah, roll talk with charisma. Yeah, right. A popular Valen saying, "My way or the highway." We invented highways, motherfucker. All right.
Talk with
go ahead.
charisma?
Make a talk with charisma. Yep.
Oh gosh. I can
Cool,
reroll
okay.
a non-combat skill.
Would you
check
like to
once
use
per
your reroll?
session. Yes, I would.
Okay.
God damn it!
Oh, wow. What are the odds?
Yeah. So you wound her, right? Like she feels the sting of that threat, and like there's a second. Your auntie is a very composed woman. You have to be to do her job, especially on a ship like this. So there's only a moment where you see something flash over her face. Make another notice and wisdom check. I want to see if you can detect what emotion it is that she feels before you get the like robot response.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go. There's
you get
earlier.
Yeah, you'll get it's in the ballpark, so I won't give you exactly, but there is a flash of like disappointment and anger. First anger, then disappointment, just in a brief flash on her face, and then she says, "You're going to have to grow up someday, Kiran. Please, I have work to do." And she like pushes past you.
I'm gonna go ahead and just like leave. I'm gonna let her cool off.
Okay, all right. One of the serfs like watches you leave. He like looks up and kind of like watches you go. Okay,
He's lucky I'm not backhanding him on the way out.
Yeah, right. Like even looking at you the wrong way is like, especially an angry noble. Yeah. Okay.
He definitely gets a withering glare and a raised eyebrow.
He looks away as soon as you like look up at him. He's just like, oh God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But you know that these engineers are going to have a conversation about this later. All right. I'm just making a note of the fallout of this conversation.
That my auntie hates me now.
Yeah. Your rep with her just like drops a little bit. Okay. All right. So while you're angering your auntie and you're set out there on your own. Booker, what are you getting up to? Last time we saw you were drinking. Is this the hangover? Like, do we see you wake up in your room all like hungover? Or are
not super hungover though, because it's not like.
So
More just
here's
the
the follow-up.
fog.
Here's the follow-up everyone wants to know. Do you wake up in your room alone?
Are you putting it in my hands right here?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make I think that you can decide. Yes.
Yeah. He woke up with the girl that was there drinking with him.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, do you want to make a roll to remember her name?
Yes.
All right. make a no.
This is determining how much he's blacked out.
Yeah. Well, what's great is that Max doesn't remember her name. So, make a no roll. Make a no roll with intelligence.
Let me get it up real quick. That's what Booker said last night. Hey, all right, yeah. I didn't mean to make a joke, and it happened.
Yeah.
Actually, I have his character sheet up. There we go. Okay, make a null roll with intelligence. She said.
Yes. Yeah. See how your memory works.
And wow.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
That's nice of him.
You got 7 and 9, so I'll give you part of her name. You remember that you remember having an argument about who makes better soldiers, House Crux or House Aquila. And you can't remember, you know she's an Aquila, but you can't, her first name was like Susan, like an S sound. Yeah. Something like that. Susan or Sarah or something. She's an Aquila though.
Right. Avoid
and yeah,
gotcha.
I think you. So you wake up. You wake up first. So you wake up and you're in your room. She is asleep next to you. She's got her she's turned away. She has the covers pulled up to PG-13, and we can see on her shoulder. We can see the vicious eagle tattoo, clutching a burning skull or whatever, her badass marine looking tattoo. And she's asleep.
Booker wakes up. He's like sees her. He's like, "Oh right."
Yeah.
He gets up, goes over to I guess wherever you'd get coffee from, and starts making a cup of coffee.
Do we get is this Booker's man ass shot? Do we get to see Booker's butt? Do you sleep naked, Book?
Yeah. Booker's
nice.
Free with the body when he goes to sleep.
Nice. I like it. All right. Cool. So we see Booker get up and walk over to the
by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, to he's making coffee, and we pan up to that. We don't see her, but we hear her, and we hear her wolf whistle at you. We hear and you look over your shoulder, and she's got her back to you, and she's pulling her tank top on, and she turns around, and she grins at you, and she says, "Is that coffee?"
You want Jim?
She reaches out and she's like,
yeah, he hands her the coffee and he just takes a sip of his own.
Yeah. And she takes a sip of it, and and she's kind of holds her head, and she's like, ugh. I am glad that this ship is not going anywhere for a couple of days. Because if I had to pilot on this hangover, we would fly directly into the sun. And I think it might be a mercy for the both of us.
Oh, come on. That inexperience with drinking? Thought you were better than that.
She chuckles and she says, maybe 3 or 4 nights in a row, but I've been at this a while. Most nights I spend up in the just desserts. Nice to have some company for once.
Yeah. I understand that.
So listen, last night I didn't I didn't talk about Argus, did I?
Booker like thinks in his head. He decides to fuck with her a little bit. He's just like, oh yeah, spewing all sorts of stuff.
She just
Lot to
shakes her.
take
She's
in.
like, ah. She's like, ah, fuck. I didn't mean anything by it. It's not like I'm in love
just
with the
fucking
guy.
with you. I don't remember.
And
You're good.
She laughs and she puts her hand on her arm. She's like, oh, good. Think fuck. It just, I don't know. You know how it is. And she gets up, and the sheet like slides away, and she's just in her underwear. And she gets up and she walks over to your walks out into your bathroom. And so we can't see her, but we hear her like turn on the shower. And she's still, you can still talk to her, but she she walks out.
Yeah. Over the over the shower, just like, I know last night was a bit of fun and you needed to blow off some steam. I know how it is on this ship, believe me. Just letting you know. And I know you don't need it and you're gonna say whatever. We need to talk about anything. I'm a little more seasoned than the others. And that's about as serious as I'll get. And he goes back to his...
Yeah, so you say that. You're like, I'm a little more seasoned than the others. And she's like, oh, I know. I was there.
Booker just chuckles.
Yeah. And then she says from the other room, you can she's getting into, and we see the shot of from her knees down, and we see her drop her tank top back on the floor. She put it on in the first place to keep it PG so she could cross the room. And before she gets into the shower, she says no, I mean, I appreciate it. And then you hear the door click shut. And in that time, you're able to get dressed and so
Yep.
what does Booker do? You have kind of this moment alone with someone else in your space, but separated from you.
Yeah, Booker kind of just goes to his normal routine. He'll has his cup of coffee, stares at his data pad for a little bit in his boxers, just looking at feed from the ship, just different mission reports and different updates from higher up and all that. And then
so does
normally he would
Booker
take a
have
shower,
any?
but-
Do we get to see any tattoos or scars that Booker has?
Yeah, there's several slashes right here, but it looks like it was something like he was clawed or something right here. Straight across like that, across his chest. There's one kind of, there's a couple. There's several scarred holes area where you can see
laser burns.
Nasty laser burn was there that wasn't properly patched up in time, so that way it are over. You see various tattoos alongside here that I don't actually have specific descriptions for, but it's all just stuff that's related to Booker's past and various military ones, things that are part of the war, some that signify different battles and some names that are
cool
indescript on there from people that he served with that fell. That kind of stuff.
I think it's reasonable. Yeah, I think it's reasonable to just kind of say like crux military tattoos signifying your service in the war.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and so you're looking through the news feed on your data pad.
Mhm.
And yeah, she comes back out, this Aquila, and she's drying her hair with a towel, and she looks down at you, and she says, well, I'm due for duty in about an hour. You got anywhere to be? She grins.
Right now? What time is it? Booker looks at the data
And
pad.
so you start looking around, and if you gave her any answer other than yes, she just grabs your wrist and drags you into the bathroom with her because the shower is still running. And so the two of you disappear unless you resist. The two of you disappear into the bathroom. And then we fade out on that scene, and we fade back in on wherever Booker is after you and the pilot have separated.
Get clean, but yet so dirty.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So where do we find you? Where do you go, Booker, after you wake up? You do have a bit of a headache, but all in all, it was a pretty good morning for you.
Yeah, no, it was a surprise to Booker. He was just like, all right. Seeing Bron's reaction right now. And Mark too. Then yeah, so afterwards he'll get showered, then he properly gets dressed and reports to wherever he has to report to. Probably if it's too early and there's he doesn't have anywhere to be at this point, he'll go just start walking the halls and he's actually gonna start seeing if he runs. He's gonna see if he runs into Arnahan. He's kind of softly looking for Arnahan.
Okay.
Going to areas that she might be.
Okay. Sure. But you're not actively like seeking her out?
No, not currently.
Because you could do that, right? You could just have the ship tell you where she is.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
okay.
If there's no mission report right now, then like assignment for him to go.
Yeah. You're all kind of in a holding pattern.
Then he will be looking for
Make a just make a luck check, and we'll see if you run into her just kind of by accident. Walking around. Yeah, you do. Okay, all right. Well, I'll let you decide. Like, is she by herself? Is she like where in the ship is she? You can kind of set the scene.
I'd say she's by herself. Say in like one of the recreation areas, like just.
Oh, maybe she's like, maybe she's at the firing range. Yeah, maybe she's just like practicing. She's off duty. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you find her at there is like a recreation facility that includes a firing range, and and she's there. So you walk in and you see the kind of hollow lanes set up. And she's got her shoulders up on the thing. She's sitting on a bench, and she has like a rifle, and she's firing bursts downrange. And there isn't anybody else around.
Yeah, Booker grabs another. He checks out a rifle and sets up like just next to her, and starts firing.
She glances over at you with her goggles on, and like pretty quick after that. Like you sit down, you take aim, take a couple of shots, and then she gets up. And she does it like casually, right? Like, oh, I'm done. But it definitely like you can pick up that it was a response to your getting here. So she gets up and puts the goggles up on her head and turns to walk away.
Booker fires like, what's the matter? Nothing to say now? No one's around?
She stops, she turns. She looks at you and she says, I'm sorry, sir. What's that?
Booker takes one more shot, sets the gun down for a second, checks it like expertly, like checks everything, sets it down, and he's like, stands up, doesn't turn yet. Oh, so it's sure now.
She looks at you and she's like, well, you are an officer, aren't you?
He turns around, looks at her. That's right. I am an officer. Something you forgot on the last mission.
Oh, no, sir. I didn't forget, sir.
Then what was it, Arnahan? You got a problem with me, you talk to me directly, not in front of anyone else.
Is that an order, sir?
You know damn well what it is. The next time you talk to me like that. He just grins.
Yeah, you want to try and intimidate her?
Yeah.
Yeah, make a
this is
make
like
a roll
devilish
with
grin. This is like a
oh
she's
yeah
been around Booker before. She's seen this before.
Okay, yeah, make a talk and charisma roll.
Please roll high. Jesus Christ.
I'm praying for you.
Talk and charisma, you said?
Yeah. Or lead if you're like leaning into like talk or lead. Like it's lead if you're leaning into like I am the boss of you in like a military sense. Yeah. Talk is a more personal like I am trying to. Can
I use any? I'm assuming I can't use my authority thing with this because it says it can be used for NPCs, but it's dependent on like how resistant or whatever.
Oh, let me see. You've got a focus, right?
Yeah,
Let me
you have
take
an
a look at
uncanny
your
charisma
sheet.
about you, one that makes others instinctively follow your instructions and further your causes. I don't know if this would be applicable here, but it's natural
Oh,
charm,
yeah,
personal
yeah,
magic,
yeah. She's. I mean, I think I'll give
Once
you
per
like
day,
it's
you can
not
make a request for it.
it's not explicitly a part of this, but yeah,
Mhm.
I'll let you get a bonus, like get a +1. Because yeah,
Okay.
you're a
So
person
lead
of
with charisma
authority.
and a +1.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So a conditional success. And so she looks at you, she sees the smile and she like blinks hard and she says, I think she just like salutes you and she says, "I understand you loud and clear, sir."
Good. Arnahan, one other thing. I know you don't want to be here right now. But before you pulled that shit before, I actually respected you.
She doesn't know what to say, or you see her like want to say a bunch of things and then just be like, "Okay." Like doesn't say
I
anything.
know, and he follows it up because she realizes it doesn't say anything. I know how others view you, right? You're just a lowly serf. I feel like by now you know how I judge people. How capable they are. How they are in combat. If I can count on them. And that's what this is about. You pull shit like that, I don't know if I can trust you. You can leave.
Make a notice and wisdom roll.
Okay. Wait.
Okay. You can't quite place why, but she's really angry. But she doesn't say or
Interesting.
do anything. When you dismiss her, she just like nods curtly and she just says, and it's like the only word she can get out of her mouth without letting all of the other stuff she's thinking come out, and she's just like, "Sir," and turns and like walks back to the cabinet to like put the rifle away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's something going on there, but
Hmm.
yeah, you got your success, right? So she's not going to lip you off in front of anybody again. And if she has a problem, she knows that you want her to like come and talk to her directly, but she's just hella upset about something.
Okay. Yeah, Booker takes note then. Goes back to his rifle and starts shooting again.
Okay, great, cool. All right, so let's catch up at the end of this bit with the place where we started. So Nomi and the chaplain. Nomi, do you go to see the chaplain right after you talk to Yancey?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I want to get this kind of resolved.
Okay, so we're setting this in the we'll set this scene in the chapel then. So it is a like a relatively like quiet place. There's probably like music playing, like meditative tones. There's the pews and the pulpit and the kind of like dull, like not shiny gold, but like the gold like draperies and what have you. It's a church. It's a little space church on the ship. And yeah, when Nomi walks in, Valencia, what are you doing?
Valencia is probably meditating, but probably just finishing off taking his MES medicine. Like he's probably just like, whatever form that takes, like some sort of like injector or something like that. He's like rolling down his shirt sleeve and setting it aside into like a little case. And just kind of blinking a little bit. Maybe like as well, like I kind of like the idea of whenever he takes it when his MES gets bad, so like he's maybe still slightly vibrating and then it kind of slows down because that's how his teleportation stuff works.
Yeah, I like it. And when you close the metal case that houses the like injectors, we see it has the sigil of House Serpents on the top of it, and that's a great. We pan to Nomi, and Nomi, you've just walked into the chapel. Nomi, do you spend much time like prior to the chaplain's arrival? Do you spend much time in here? Are you the praying type, Nomi? No.
No.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So you walk in and you're in this place that sometimes people use for like weddings and funerals.
That seems to be the only other time.
Mm-hmm. It's the only time I ever go to a church.
I'll look over at Nomi and just kind of wave her down to where I'm sat down. And then if there is anybody around, I might try and disperse them or like get rid of them so we can talk privately. Or go off to a side.
I think it's easy enough for you to arrange it to be a private meeting between the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just walk forward and sit next to him. And just wait for you to speak.
Yeah. So I'll look over and just kind of say, Siris, excellent. I'm glad that you came quickly. So let's get down to the facts of this matter. I cannot sign the excommunication order. And when I briefly looked at it and when the lieutenant spoke of it to me, I am concerned that if this is to go up the normal channels in the High Church, it will not only take some time, but they may raise questions. Not everyone in the church understands the severity of what we are dealing with out of here. But the reason that I wanted to speak with you and the reason that I agreed to look into the matter is because there are some people, my siblings, I call them, that can help us both. However, they are a secretive group, and I am not sure I will be able to contact them if it is through a crux channel. I need to contact them on a secured line. This is where, if I can contact them, they will sign the excommunication order swiftly, and we can resolve this bureaucracy that plagues you. And I can also contact the people that I need to speak to. We can help each other. You have authority here on the ship. Perhaps you may know people that I do not that can help us achieve this.
Adam, is that a thing that I can do? I don't really know what
maybe if you can roll well enough.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're basically asking for a like an unmonitored channel on a ship belonging to like the FBI, basically. So you can,
Yeah.
I mean, you can request
We
it.
know they exist.
It sort of depends on where you request it from. Like if you don't want Yancey to know about it, that's another thing. Because the chain of it would be you'd go to him, he would get approval from the Richter, he would be like, here, use this secure channel, and then the channel would be decommissioned after or whatever, like scrambled. But if you don't want to go through the chain of command, that's going to be a different thing.
I'm okay with going through the chain of command, I think, because Yancey's aware that this is like what we have to do. Like we already talked to him about it. So so to the chaplain, then I say, I understand your position. I'm grateful that you have decided to help me with this situation. Perhaps we can talk to Lieutenant Yancey and see if he will secure us a line that will allow you to communicate with the church.
That would be gracious. I'm assuming then that you trust this Lieutenant Yancey.
I trust that he has our best interests in mind.
Very well. Then I believe that by your very nature, Ceres, you are a good judge of character, and so I am more than happy to go with this if you think it can accomplish our goals. I wish to make sure that your diligent and virtuous actions are not marred by some political bureaucracy of a minor house.
Excellent. Is there anything else that you need then, Chaplain?
No, if you can find me a secure line, I can reach out to these covert individuals. Otherwise, yes, I'm afraid that I may have to go through more mundane means, and it may take me some time. The other option is if Lieutenant Yancey is, for whatever reason, or perhaps the Richter himself is unwilling to help us, perhaps we could visit Hyra, and we may be able to find some sort of way to secure find a secure connection there, but let us cross that bridge if we come to it.
I agree with this plan.
Excellent. Well, then let us help each other.
I'll just kind of like give him a half smile and then stand up and start to leave.
Okay. Nomi, when you stand up, it's like you get a head rush. Something like you get a little lightheaded. Chaplin, you see this. Nomi gets this kind of like 1,000-yard stare for a second. Nomi, you get a little bit of tunnel vision, and the room gets like quiet. You can kind of hear like it's like whooshing sound when you try to stand up. Chaplin, you notice like she might faint.
I just kind of like, I just look at her, maybe stand up. Are you all right, Cirrus?
It's starting to pass, but now, Nomi, you can hear like there's a sound. You hear like a humming or a buzzing sound.
Okay. So yeah, I don't. Is there anything that I can roll to like understand what's happening, or I don't know.
I
Do
mean,
just have to,
like, yeah, not really. Like,
not really. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Adam, would I recognize this? Because I was here when oh god, I can't remember Kate's character's name. What was it? Lilith.
Snickers bar.
Sorry. Yeah. What was her? Would I recognize that as a similar thing to when she went crazy and died?
I mean, Nomi just looks like she stood up too fast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I'll just be like, oh, I'll just kind of watch it for a second, but I'm not going to make any immediate action.
Okay. All right.
What's with this chapel?
Nomi, can you make a mental effect save, please? Nice. Okay. Psychics don't have very many hit points, but their mental saves are great. So, the sound gets louder, that high pitched like whine, and then it fades, and you hear in its place you hear a scratching sound. It's coming from the front of the chapel, and when you turn to look on the inside doors of the chapel, it looks like something is being scratched into the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just like wait to see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, you can walk over and look at it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's on the other end. Okay. So, Chaplin, you see Nomi just turn and start walking towards the door.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to assume she's leaving. I wouldn't assume anything suspicious about that. Like, she got up to leave. Looked like she got up too quick and thingy.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. So, Nomi, you walk to the door, and as you get closer, you can see on the back of this door, scratched into the wood paneling, there is part of a word. It's the letters V, E, and then as you walk up, you see being scratched into the surface of the door, the letter R, starting to form. And Chaplin, you see Nomi walk up and look at the back of the door.
See this? I'll call out again and just maybe start making my way down. Like, you seem distracted.
Can I even like hear him, or am I just like totally?
Yeah, you hear the buzzing. You're vaguely aware that he's there.
Okay.
And you're watching this word get scratched into the door.
Yeah, I don't turn around, but I just like put my hand up as like a kind of like stay where you are sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. I'll stop. I'll probably instinctively the hand will start going towards the back underneath my jacket towards my pistol.
Yeah, right. And it ends. The word finishes. You see the last letter get carved into the door and then stop. And there's a few seconds of silence. Nothing else is there. And when we pull back, we see Nomi and the chaplain, and then in big, huge letters, we see the word Verona scratched into the back of both doors.
Do I see that?
You don't. No. And before you have a chance to ask, Nomi, before you have a chance to say anything, we fade out to break. So we'll take our break there. And when we get back, more mysteries on the Prudence. Maybe more sexy time for Booker. That was a great scene, by the way. We're going to talk about that in the post show. Thank you for that, Max. All right, stick around, everybody. We got lots more Roleplay for Verona right after the break.